What if one of the biggest stories in the WNBA wasn't about a game-winning shot, a championship race, or even a superstar performance, but about one player's comments that ignited a nationwide debate? Over the past few weeks, Sophie Cunningham has found herself at the center of headlines, not because of what she did on the court, but because of what she said off it. Her remarks sparked fierce reactions from fans, media outlets, and people across the political spectrum.
Something like that, and then she told us that we were effing insane, and that we
and she's like, and she went like this.
Insane.
Yeah. She's like, you better stop this
and stop pulling
shit.
this. Yeah,
and
for you guys
I
to
hope
come
God
here
can
and
save
pull
you.
This. Yeah,
she said for you to come here and pull this shit.
Yeah,
she said the word.
Yeah.
Did she say effing insane or the fucking
no?
insane?
She said the word. Yeah.
And nobody around you spoke up for you.
No,
So,
no.
I will say, Annalie, when I came over, you were in tears.
Yeah, I've never been yelled at like that. I mean, I've had people hate on me on the internet, but like it doesn't really affect me as much because it's just people online. But that just took me by surprise because I thought she was gonna be nice, and then she started like screaming at us.
Then, during a Fever vs Storm game, a separate incident involving fans inside the arena pushed the controversy even further into the spotlight. Questions quickly spread across social media. Were fans treated fairly? Did the organization respond appropriately? And why has this story become so much bigger than basketball itself?
That same vein, in that story with ESPN, you talk about wanting to protect young girls who shouldn't have to go against biological men. Just can you expand your viewpoint on that?
I mean, I think I said what I said. I think it's kind of common sense. And I think I'll always believe in that. I think it's really important to protect children. And that's little girls who are also involved in that category. And so I stand on what I said, and I always believe that.
Yeah. Do you see your advocacy on that, like, taking any form going forward?
You know, I don't know. I'm not a very political person, but I do have beliefs. I have morals, and I'll always stand on those and be true to who I am. And I think people are going to take it how they want to take it, but I've never even really said anything about that. And so when it comes just to protecting young girls in sport and women in sport, I feel very strongly about that. I think that's why you have Title IX. That's why you have some of the greats in women's sports. If Title IX and women's sports weren't protected, then you wouldn't hear about any type of women in sport. And so I think in the future, it's just really important to protect.
Do you think, I guess, along the line like that, it goes against perhaps, some people might say, hey, for the trans community, this could be something that could come back on us or be targeted against us. Like, how do you, I guess, view that sort of critique?
You know, like I said, I extend love, and I don't dislike anyone. Like, I think there is room for absolutely everyone here, and I think there's room to love everyone. And
in today's video, we'll break down the full timeline, separate confirmed facts from online speculation, and explain why this controversy has become one of the most talked about moments in the WNBA this season. Stay with us, because the details are more surprising than most headlines suggest. For years, the WNBA has been no stranger to passionate debates. Rivalries, controversial calls, and heated post-game interviews have always been part of professional sports. But every once in a while, a story grows far beyond basketball itself. Instead of focusing on points, rebounds, or championships, the conversation shifts towards something much larger. That's exactly what happened when Indiana Fever guard Sophie Cunningham found herself at the center of a nationwide discussion. It all began during an interview in which Cunningham was asked about an issue that has become one of the most debated topics in sports today: protecting women's sports and ensuring fair competition.
How the left is completely intolerant and the actual hateful ones. This woman is not an owner of a basketball team. She's an owner of a left-wing, radical, political activist group that happens to play basketball. Because this team has endorsed Kamala Harris for president. They have promoted trans rights on their website and their merchandise. And clearly they hold a double standard and allow people to hold signs like this, but belittle young girls that support their sports remaining female. I don't expect them to do this, but I would really like to see the WNBA protect and stand up for fans just like these two young girls from hate and intolerance. And if you're
Rather than avoiding the question or giving a carefully crafted answer, she responded directly. Cunningham explained that she believes women's sports should remain protected for biological women and that young girls deserve a level playing field when competing in athletics. Her comments immediately spread across social media. Within hours, clips from the interview appeared everywhere. Some viewers praised her for speaking honestly about a difficult subject, while others strongly disagreed with her position. As expected, the conversation quickly expanded beyond basketball, drawing reactions from sports analysts, political commentators, and fans from all sides of the debate. Despite the growing controversy, Cunningham didn't immediately respond to the online backlash. She continued preparing for games while the discussion around her comments became one of the biggest talking points in the WNBA. A few days later, reporters asked her about the interview once again. Many expected her to soften her position or clarify what she meant. Instead, Cunningham calmly repeated that her beliefs had not changed. At the same time, she emphasized that she does not hate anyone and believes every person deserves respect. She explained that, in her view, supporting women's sports and treating people with kindness are not mutually exclusive. That second interview only fueled the conversation further. Supporters applauded her consistency, saying she stood by her principles even after facing criticism. Others argued that her comments could make some communities feel excluded. As more media outlets picked up the story, what had started as a sports interview turned into a national discussion reaching audiences far beyond WNBA fans. Then came the Indiana Fever's road game against the Seattle Storm. What should have been another regular season matchup suddenly carried extra attention. Long before tip-off, fans outside the arena were already discussing Cunningham's comments. Some arrived wearing shirts expressing support for women's sports, while others showed support for transgender inclusion in athletics. The atmosphere reflected how divided opinions had become. Inside the arena, emotions remained high. According to multiple reports and videos shared online, a small group of fans brought signs expressing support for Cunningham. One sign thanked her for speaking up on behalf of girls in sports. The message did not mention another player by name, nor did it contain offensive language. Nevertheless, what happened next became the biggest headline of the night. Several fans later claimed that a member of the Seattle Storm ownership group approached them during the game. According to their account, the interaction quickly became heated. They said they were told to remove or stop displaying the sign and described the conversation as intimidating. One young fan later shared that the encounter left her visibly emotional. As videos and eyewitness accounts spread across social media, the incident generated another wave of debate. Supporters of the fans argued that everyone attending a sporting event should be able to peacefully support a player without fear of confrontation. Others pointed out that sports venues also have rules regarding signs and conduct, though many questioned whether those rules had been applied consistently. Within hours, clips discussing the incident appeared across YouTube, X, Facebook, and sports talk shows. The discussion was no longer limited to Cunningham's original interview. It had now shifted toward fan treatment, free expression at sporting events, and how organizations should respond when controversial issues intersect with live games. The Seattle Storm organization eventually addressed the situation publicly. Team leadership acknowledged that an interaction had occurred involving a co-owner and fans in attendance. They also stated that everyone attending games should feel welcome regardless of personal beliefs and expressed regret over how the situation unfolded. While some people appreciated the statement, others believed it did not fully answer the questions surrounding the incident. Online discussions continued as fans debated whether the response went far enough or whether additional accountability was needed. Meanwhile, Cunningham herself remained focused on basketball. Rather than engaging in lengthy public arguments, she continued preparing for upcoming games while the media attention surrounding her continued to grow. Every appearance, interview, and post-game press conference attracted increased interest from reporters looking for her latest reaction. As the days passed, the story evolved into something much bigger than a single interview or one interaction inside an arena. It became a conversation about athletes using their voices, fan behavior, organizational responsibility, and the challenges professional sports leagues face when social issues become part of the public conversation. Regardless of where people stood on the issue, one thing became impossible to ignore: the controversy had captured national attention, and it showed no signs of slowing down. But as intense as the public debate had become, even more developments were waiting just around the corner. New reactions from media personalities, responses from across the sports world, and growing attention from national news outlets would soon push this story to an entirely different level. And that's exactly where the next chapter begins. As the controversy continued to dominate headlines, the conversation expanded far beyond WNBA circles. What had started as one player's comments and a fan incident inside an arena was now being discussed across national media, podcasts, sports radio, and social media platforms. Every new opinion seemed to create another wave of debate. Some commentators praised Sophie Cunningham for standing by her beliefs despite intense criticism. Others argued that professional athletes should recognize how influential their words can be, especially on topics that affect different communities. Regardless of which side people supported, one fact became clear: the story had become much bigger than basketball. Sports analysts began reviewing Cunningham's original interview in detail. Many pointed out that she answered a question she was directly asked rather than bringing up the topic herself. Others focused on her repeated statements that she wanted everyone to be treated with respect while also believing women's sports should remain protected. Meanwhile, discussions surrounding the Seattle incident refused to fade. Fans who attended the game continued sharing their experiences online. Some witnesses claimed the confrontation happened very quickly, while others believed the situation escalated because emotions were already running high before tip-off. Videos circulating on social media showed different angles of the arena, but not every moment of the interaction was captured, leaving many questions unanswered. That uncertainty allowed speculation to spread rapidly. Some online posts made dramatic claims about what had happened, while others urged people to wait until verified information became available. As often happens during major controversies, facts, opinions, and rumors started blending together, making it difficult for casual fans to separate confirmed events from online speculation. Even so, the discussion showed no signs of slowing down. Television panels debated whether sports organizations should become involved when political or social disagreements appear inside arenas. Some believe teams have a responsibility to maintain a welcoming environment for everyone. Others argued that peaceful displays of support for players should generally be allowed as long as they do not violate arena policies. The debate wasn't limited to sports journalists. Former athletes, commentators, and public figures also shared their perspectives. Some applauded Cunningham's willingness to answer difficult questions honestly. Others believed controversial social issues should remain separate from professional sports whenever possible. As these conversations continued, every Indiana Fever game attracted additional attention. Reporters covering the team were no longer asking only about basketball. Press conferences increasingly included questions about public reaction, media coverage, and the growing attention surrounding Cunningham. Despite repeated opportunities to expand on the controversy, she largely remained consistent with her earlier comments and avoided turning every interview into a political discussion. Her teammates also found themselves answering unrelated questions before and after games. Instead of discussing defensive strategies or playoff positioning, conversations often shifted toward the national debate unfolding around one player's interview. For the Fever organization, the timing couldn't have been more challenging. The team was trying to build momentum on the court while simultaneously navigating one of the most talked about stories in women's basketball. Every game became an opportunity for television broadcasts and commentators to revisit the controversy. Meanwhile, online engagement exploded. Videos discussing Cunningham's comments collected millions of views across multiple platforms. Some creators defended her position. Others criticized it. Many simply analyzed how the league, teams, and media were responding. The story had evolved into one of those rare moments where sports fans, political commentators, and general news audiences were all discussing the same event from completely different perspectives. At the center of everything remained a simple question. How should professional sports organizations balance free expression, player opinions, and creating an environment where all fans feel welcome? There were no easy answers. Different leagues have handled similar situations in different ways over the years. Some organizations encourage players to openly discuss social issues, while others prefer to keep the focus on competition. Regardless of the approach, moments like this often generate passionate reactions because they involve values that extend far beyond athletics. As national attention increased, league officials and team representatives faced growing pressure to respond carefully. Every public statement was analyzed word by word, with supporters and critics searching for hidden meaning or implied positions. For Cunningham, the spotlight remained intense. Whether fans agreed with her or not, nearly every appearance generated headlines. Sports talk shows debated her comments, social media users argued over them daily, and journalists continued asking follow-up questions whenever microphones were nearby. Yet one important detail often became lost amid the constant debate. Basketball itself. While headlines focused on controversy, games continued. Players prepared, coaches adjusted strategies, and teams battled through the regular season. But for many viewers, the off-court discussion had become almost impossible to separate from what was happening on the hardwood. As more days passed, another development would soon add fresh momentum to the story. New reports, additional reactions, and league-related updates would once again place Cunningham and the WNBA at the center of national attention. And when those developments emerged, the conversation became even more complicated than before. As the days passed, the discussion surrounding Sophie Cunningham showed no signs of slowing down. Instead of fading after a few news cycles, the story continued gaining attention from sports media, opinion shows, and millions of fans across social media. Every new interview, every statement, and every update seemed to restart the debate all over again. For many observers, this was no longer just about one player or one post-game interview. It had become a larger conversation about the future of professional sports, athlete expression, fan experiences inside arenas, and how leagues respond when social issues become part of the spotlight. Supporters of Cunningham argued that athletes should be free to answer questions honestly without worrying that their careers or reputations would suffer because of their personal beliefs. They viewed her comments as an example of someone expressing an opinion respectfully after being asked directly by a reporter. Others strongly disagreed with her position and argued that public figures have a responsibility to consider how their words may affect different communities. They believed discussions like these should prioritize making every fan and athlete feel respected and included. The disagreement remained intense, but one thing was undeniable: people were paying attention. Every Fever game attracted increased media coverage. Television broadcasts referenced the controversy. Sports podcasts continued debating the issue. Articles analyzing every new development appeared almost daily. Meanwhile, fans kept asking another important question. Would this controversy have any long-term impact on Cunningham's career? At that point, there was no official indication from the league that her comments alone had resulted in disciplinary action. Much of the speculation circulating online came from social media discussions rather than confirmed league announcements. That distinction became increasingly important because rumors often spread faster than verified information. The same was true regarding claims about players, coaches, or league officials. Throughout the controversy, many posts on social media presented opinions as facts, making it difficult for casual fans to understand what had actually been confirmed. As journalists continued covering the story, several emphasized the importance of separating documented events from speculation. Verified statements from organizations carried far more weight than anonymous online claims, yet both often traveled through the internet at the same speed. Another topic that continued drawing attention was the experience of the fans involved in the Seattle arena incident. Many people argued that sporting events should remain places where supporters can peacefully cheer for their favorite teams and players, provided they follow arena rules. Others emphasized that venue staff also have a responsibility to maintain order and ensure everyone's safety. Finding the right balance between those goals isn't always simple, especially when national political and cultural debates become part of the atmosphere inside a sports arena. The Seattle Storm organization eventually addressed the situation publicly and acknowledged that an interaction involving ownership and fans had occurred. The organization also expressed that everyone attending games should feel welcome regardless of personal viewpoints. For some observers, that response represented an appropriate first step. Others believed additional transparency would have helped answer lingering questions surrounding exactly what happened during the incident. As discussion continued, analysts also reflected on how quickly modern sports stories evolve. Years ago, a post-game interview might have remained within local news coverage. Today, a short video clip can reach millions of viewers within hours. Social media allows every fan, commentator, and public figure to contribute to the conversation, often before complete information is available. That rapid flow of information creates both opportunities and challenges. On one hand, fans have greater access than ever before to interviews, press conferences, and multiple viewpoints. On the other hand, misinformation can spread just as quickly, making careful reporting more important than ever. Throughout the controversy, Cunningham herself largely avoided escalating the situation. Rather than engaging in extended online arguments, she continued focusing on basketball while responding to reporters only when asked directly. Whether people agreed with her or disagreed, many observers acknowledged that she remained consistent in explaining her position. As the regular season continued, attention slowly began shifting back toward basketball. Playoff races intensified. Teams fought for positioning. Players returned their focus to competition on the court. Yet the broader discussion sparked by this controversy continued long after the original headlines faded. It became another example of how professional sports increasingly intersect with larger cultural conversations. Moments like these remind fans that athletes are often asked questions extending far beyond wins and losses. Their answers can generate support, criticism, debate, and widespread media attention in ways few people could have imagined just a decade ago. In the end, people may continue disagreeing about the issues discussed throughout this story. Some will believe Cunningham simply answered an honest question. Others will continue believing her comments carried broader implications. Some will focus on the fan incident inside the arena. Others will emphasize the importance of creating welcoming environments for everyone attending sporting events. Reasonable people can hold different opinions on these subjects. What remains clear is that this story became one of the most widely discussed WNBA controversies of the season, not because of a buzzer beater or a championship game, but because it raised difficult questions that extend far beyond basketball itself. As the league continues moving forward, fans will undoubtedly keep watching, not only to see what happens on the court, but also to see how organizations, players, and supporters navigate similar situations in the future. And regardless of where the conversation goes next, one thing is certain. The spotlight surrounding Sophie Cunningham and the WNBA isn't disappearing anytime soon. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more in-depth WNBA coverage, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest videos. We cover the biggest stories, the hottest debates, and the moments everyone is talking about, always bringing you the latest updates from around the league. Now it's your turn. What do you think about everything that happened in this story? Do you believe Sophie Cunningham simply shared her personal opinion, or do you think the reaction from fans, media, and organizations was justified? Share your thoughts respectfully in the comments below. We'd love to hear different perspectives. If you found this video informative, don't forget to share it with other WNBA fans so they can join the discussion too. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.